Let me ask you something that might sting a little, but in the best way. Have you ever looked at a man and thought, why her? She wasn't necessarily the prettiest woman in the room. She wasn't the one trying the hardest. She didn't have the flashiest outfit or the loudest laugh, but somehow she had him hooked in, drawn in, devoted, powerless there, and you're sitting there wondering, what does she have that I don't? Let me tell you what it is to you. She's mastered the kind of presence that doesn't scream, pick me. She whispers, I'm the one you'll never forget. See, the strongest men, the most confident, high value, emotionally mature men aren't looking for someone to complete them. They're drawn to women who already feel whole, makes them powerless, because real attraction isn't about chasing. It's about resonance. There's something about her hits him on a level that's deeper than beauty, deeper than charisma, deeper than chemistry. She activates something in him. And it's not an accident. These women carry energy, values, and behaviors that speak directly to a man's instincts. They don't perform. They don't pretend. They embody something magnetic. So today, I want to reveal the 5 types of women that even the strongest men find themselves thinking about all day. The kind of woman he brags about. The kind he introduces to his friends. Realize that they're the kind he stops being a player for. Not because she forced it, because she inspired it. And once you understand who these women are and what makes them so unforgettable, realize that you'll realize that you don't need to chase love. You just need to start being the woman he can't walk away from, even if he tried. Let's start with the most magnetic force of all, self-respect. This isn't just about having confidence. It's about having standards. It's about walking into a room and not needing validation because you've already given it to yourself. You see, self-respect is quiet, but it's powerful. It shows in the way a woman speaks about herself, the way she walks away from drama, the way she says no without guilt and yes without fear. And men, even the emotionally unavailable, alpha, I've got it all together types, are completely drawn in by it. Why? Because self-respect is rare. A woman with self-respect doesn't need to prove her worth. She just embodies it. She's not impressed by shallow gestures. She doesn't chase breadcrumbs, and she certainly doesn't overgive to earn love. Instead, she gives from a full cup. Realize that she loves herself so well that she naturally teaches others how to treat her. And here's where the real power comes in. When a man meets a woman like this, he suddenly finds himself wanting to rise. He senses that she doesn't tolerate inconsistency. She won't settle for being an option. She's not waiting around for someone to pick her. She chooses herself every single day. And that energy, it's intoxicating. Men might sleep with a woman who's beautiful. They might date a woman who's fun, but they commit to the woman they respect. And the woman they respect is the one who respects herself. So how do you become this woman? Realize that you stop accepting behavior that falls short of your standards. You stop making excuses for red flags. You stop pouring your energy into proving you're worth it and start recognizing that your worth isn't up for negotiation. You protect your peace. You set clear boundaries there. And you choose partners, not projects, because when you carry that kind of self-respect, something shifts in the dynamic. Men don't just desire you. They admire you. They realize that they chase you, and not because you're hard to get, because you're clear about what you deserve. And that's the difference between a woman who's temporarily exciting and the one who becomes unforgettable. The woman who makes him feel deeply seen. Let's get real. Then most men go through life feeling unseen, not unloved. They might have people who care about things, but to be truly seen, that's rare. So when a woman enters his life who makes him feel like more than just a provider, a protector, or a body to lie next to, everything changes there. Because this woman doesn't just compliment his looks or praise his success. She sees beyond the performance. She notices the quiet moments, the hidden anxieties, realize that they're the little boy inside the man who's trying to carry the world. And she doesn't try to fix him. She doesn't try to be his therapist. She simply makes space for his truth and meets it with curiosity instead of judgment. This is the woman who listens, not to respond, but to understand. She realized there, she remembers the small details he didn't even think were important. She sees the soft spots he's afraid to show and honors them with grace. Now, here's the magic in that angle. That when a man feels deeply seen, he opens emotionally, spiritually, physically, and not just in a moment of passion, but in a space of connection that makes him bond. There, he begins to feel safe, not just safe to be strong, but safe to be vulnerable. And for a man, that is everything. You see, being physically intimate is easy there, but emotional intimacy, being met in your full humanity, that's addictive. And when you give a man that kind of intimacy, you become unforgettable. But it takes something from you. It takes emotional maturity. It takes presence. It takes the ability to hold your own insecurities without making his about you. Because when he sees that you can handle him at his most unfiltered, there you become the first person he doesn't have to perform around. And the strongest men, the ones who seem impenetrable, are often the ones longing for that kind of woman the most. They're the woman who isn't impressed by his car or paycheck, the woman who isn't intimidated by his silence, the woman who looks at the storm inside him and says, I see you there. You're safe here. She becomes the one he trusts. And in a world where men are taught to high depth, trust is everything. So if you want a man to crave you, not just in your body, in your essence, start here. Don't just try to be the woman he wants. Be the woman who sees the man he is and reminds him he's worthy exactly as he is. Let's talk about one of the most underrated and irresistible traits in a woman, playfulness. You might think men are only drawn to look, success, or a certain body type. But the truth there, a man can't stop thinking about the woman who makes him feel alive, who turns a simple dinner into a flirtation, who teases him, challenges him, surprises him, not because she's trying to impress him, but because that's who she naturally is. Playfulness is emotional intelligence in action. It says there, I'm not trying to control this moment. I'm here to enjoy it. It's what makes a man feel like he's not being interviewed on a dated, but invited into an experience. There, and here's the key: men, especially strong, competent ones, live in pressure. They're constantly being asked to perform, solve problems, achieve. But the playful woman, that she gives him permission to exhale. She doesn't take herself too seriously. She doesn't turn every moment into a DTR conversation. Instead, there, she brings lightness. And that lightness is what opens door to deeper connection. But don't confuse playfulness with immaturity. This woman isn't naive. She has boundaries. Realize that there. She's grounded, but she also knows how to crack a smile at the perfect moment. She knows to whisper something a little cheeky that gets under his skin in the best way. There, she knows how to be a little unpredictable, keeping him on his toes. Why does this matter? Because every man wants to feel like he's with someone who brings color to his world. There, someone who can laugh in the rain, dance in the kitchen, make fun of his terrible playlist, and then melt into a serious conversation when it matters. Playfulness builds chemistry. It's what takes a safe relationship and turns it electric. It's the wink across the room, the teasing text, the way she grabs his hand and says, realize that there, let's get out of here. And what's more, playful women don't just attract attention, they sustain it. Because no matter how intense life gets, realize that their being with her feels like a breath of fresh. She's not chasing a man. She's inviting him into her world, a world that's joyful, spontaneous, and emotionally free. That's what makes a man obsessed. Not because she's trying to be someone she's not, but because she's fully herself, unapologetically vibrant, lighthearted, effortless. So if you want to tap into that irresistible power, start by being present. Let go of trying to control how he feels. Flirt just because it's fun. Laugh more. Stay curious and realize that then, remember, the woman who can play is the woman he never forgets. When they realize that they're the woman who lives a life bigger than him, there's something magnetic about a woman who walks into a room and isn't looking for anyone's permission to be there. Realize that she's not desperate for attention. She's not waiting to be chosen because she's already chosen herself. This is the woman who men find themselves completely drawn to, not just because of how she looks or what she wears, but because of how she moves through life. She's chasing goals. Realize they're building passions, making plans. She's not sitting around waiting for love to complete her because she already feels whole. Now, here's the paradox. Even the most confident men become captivated by this kind of woman because she's the challenge they can't buy, charm, or manipulate. She's the woman who, even when deeply in love, then never loses her sense of self. And that is intoxicating. Why? Because every man secretly craves a woman who reminds him of the parts of life he's forgotten to live. When they realize who's got her own thing going, who shows up not to orbit around his world, but to invite him into hers. When she talks about her purpose, her friends, her wild dreams, he listens, not just because he's interested in her, but because he's inspired by how alive she is. And here's the thing lies there. A woman like this makes a man want to rise, not because she asks him to, but because he wants to match her. Realize she doesn't need a man to be her everything. She wants a partner who's strong enough to stand beside her. Men might enjoy a woman who flatters their ego. But they fall for the one who reminds them of who they want to become. This woman isn't afraid to say no. She'll walk away if the energy isn't right. Not out of spite, realize but because she's got too much going on to settle for something halfway. And that's what makes her unforgettable. She's not cold. She's just centered. They realize she knows how to love without losing herself. And when she chooses a man, it means something because she's waiting for anyone to rescue her. Realize a man feels it deep in his bones when he's with a woman like this. He respects her. He craves her. He tells his friends she's different because she brings value before love enters the picture. So if you want to be the kind of woman who makes a man obsess over you, not just physically, realize but mentally and emotionally. Ask yourself this: are you building a life that turns you on? Because when a woman is lit up by her own world, she becomes the spark that ignites everything around her. And no man forgets that. The woman who makes him feel safe being vulnerable. We often talk about attraction in terms of looks, seduction, or charisma. But what if I told you one of the most powerful forms of attraction, the kind that makes even the strongest, most guarded men soften, is emotional safety? And because as men are told to be strong, still human, they're human. They crave connection. They want to feel seen. They want to share their fears without being judged. Realize but very few feel they can until they meet a woman who gives them that space. This isn't the woman who rushes in to fix everything. It's not the one who tells him to man up. It's the woman who listens, really listens, without turning his vulnerability into weakness. You see, most men don't open up easily. They're taught their value lies in what they do, not what they feel. So when he meets a woman who doesn't just tolerate his emotions, but embraces them, he's stunned. Realize because it's rare and it's everything. She doesn't panic when he admits he's scared. She doesn't lose respect when he says he's unsure. She meets him with calm, with presence, with curiosity. And in doing so, she becomes the one woman he feels like he can finally be himself with. You want to know when a man starts to truly fall in love. It's not when the sex is amazing. It's not when she says all the right things. It's when, in a quiet moment, he shares something real. And she looks at him like he's even more attractive for it. That's when the shift happens, because he's no longer performing. He's not putting on a mask. He's just him. And she still wants him. That's when obsession turns into devotion. Now, this doesn't mean being his therapist or carrying his emotional burdens for him. This woman still has her boundaries. She doesn't get lost in his drama. But she offers a presence that says, you're safe here. You're safe here. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. That's the space where true intimacy lies. So how do you become that woman? You lead with your own emotional honesty. Realize you create a space of warmth, not judgment. You understand that the strongest men aren't the ones who never feel fear. They're the ones brave enough to admit it. And when you meet him with that level of grace, he feels something he's never felt before with anyone else. He feels home. That's the woman he trusts. That's the woman he craves at 2 a.m. Realize when the world's heavy, that's the woman he pictures by his side, not just in bed, but in life. And that is the kind of love he never walks away from there. So here's what I want you to remember. It's not about trying to become someone else. It's not about playing games or shrinking yourself into some idea of what a man wants. It's about becoming more of the woman you already are, but fully expressed. The truth is men, even the strong ones, aren't just attracted to beauty. They're drawn to the woman who owns her space, who lives with passion, who can flirt and tease, but also hold emotional depth. That they're the woman who's just as comfortable laughing at herself as she is speaking her truth. That woman becomes unforgettable, not because she's perfect, but because she's real and rare. Realize that there. So instead of wondering, how do I make him want me? Ask her, there. How do I become the kind of woman who's magnetic even when no one is watching? Because when you do that, when you embody the qualities of the playful mystery, the confident communicator, the sensual presence, the woman living a big, bold life, and the one who makes him feel safe being real, you don't just get attention. You get devotion. Realize that you get a man who doesn't just desire you. He respects you. He chooses you again and again. And if you want to go deeper into becoming that kind of woman, the one who naturally inspires obsession without losing herself in the process, make sure you're subscribed. Because the next step is not about fixing anything. It's about activating the parts of you that already know exactly how powerful, playful, and irresistible you truly are. They realize that and trust me, once you do, he won't be able to forget you.